Hey, welcome back, and it's good to see you. I'm so glad that you stopped by to hear what I had to say today. And today I'm talking about something that pretty much everybody's talking about, and that is the Iran conflict. And I'm going to give you my thoughts because everybody's got opinions on this, and they're sharing them, and they're not that great, a lot of them. Some of them are okay, but I see a lot of, I wouldn't call it misinformation, but misunderstandings of a lot of different things with this conflict and with Trump's policy in general. And so I just wanted to get some things cleared up with that. And also the fact that I'm suspended from X on like the most busy time ever in the history of X doesn't help much. So here I am ranting to YouTube, and I hope you enjoy it. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like this video so that it gets out to more people and more people can understand this conflict a little bit better. They act as if Congress has to approve every move that the military makes or anything that the military does. And that's just absolutely not true. And this goes back all the way to the beginning of our nation and the Barbary Wars. That's how the Marines got from the halls of Montezuma, which, maybe we'll be heading down there soon, to the shores of Tripoli. Now, they didn't declare war for the Barbary Wars. We were going there to protect our shipping lanes, to protect our commercial interests abroad, which I think has been the great, uh, which I think is really the most critical use of the military, and that's been from the very beginning, is to protect not only our citizens abroad, but our financial interests and our commercial interests. We've had to deal with a lot of piracy, with a lot of Houthis. Now, where do you think they're getting their weaponry? Really, the main thing that you need to know when it comes to all this congressional bloviating or whatever is that it's really not going to go anywhere. At the end of the day, it's going to make no difference at all. And even if they put a bill through, which is highly unlikely, they can't even get a simple voter ID bill through. They can't agree on anything, and it would take them forever. If they did get it through both chambers of Congress, the president would just veto it. So all they're doing right now is just trying to pump up their own egos and try to pump up their own brand. And it's not going to make any difference at the end of the day. A lot of the media and a lot of the panicky, pearl clutching left and right are saying that Trump promised not to start any new wars. And he did, but in context. Trump said that he was not going to start any more forever wars. And that was the whole thing that we voted for. That was what we supported, was we didn't want any conflicts like we had experienced over the last 20 years. Pointless conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan that really went nowhere and weren't very successful at the end of the day. And a lot of people are looking at Iran the same way that Iraq or Afghanistan was, and they aren't comparable at all. And I'm going to go through a few different points on that. First of all, Iran has a history of being pro Western and even being friends with Israel. The United States gave Iran F 14s and a lot of weaponry back in the 70s that they then turn around and used against us when the Islamic regime took over and the Ayatollah took over. I guess the best way to put it is the Iranians are a little more civilized than some of the other Middle Eastern nations, Iraq and Afghanistan in particular. And something to remember about those two is Iraq didn't really have an opposition that was organized and strong enough to take over and take power. And Afghanistan was the same way. And maybe they did have something that could have taken over and governed effectively, but our mistake was taking out anybody who worked with Saddam or was in the Ba'ath Party. And those people actually could have possibly stepped up and run the regime better. Now, Iran is much different, and Iran already has a king who was deposed back in the 70s, and his son is wanting to take over again in Iran. And things were great back then. It was very freedom of religion, a separation of church and state. And a lot of those things are what a lot of the people in Iran want right now. Also, you look at the reaction of the people in Iran. There's not a bunch of crowds out on the street chanting death to America and death to Israel. No, they're chanting, thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Netanyahu, because they've given them an opportunity to take their country back. And a friendlier Iran is always going to be a better Iran. Now, a lot of people are saying Iran doesn't pose an imminent threat to the United States, and that's just absolute BS. Yes, they do. Iran, with the Islamic regime, has posed a threat to the United States every single day since its very existence. A lot of people forget that just a few years ago, Iran had stopped one of our Navy vessels, one of our Navy patrol boats, and took the crew hostage. And a lot of people are saying this is Israel's war. Well, Israel wasn't the one who took them hostage. Israel isn't the one who's arming terrorists around the world who are carrying out terrorist attacks and killing innocent people. So I've really had it with the Israel rhetoric. I get it. I'll save that for another video, but it's gotten to the point where it's just absolutely absurd. Now, also, let's look at Venezuela. People were saying the same exact thing about Venezuela as they are right now about Iran. And if we just look at Venezuela as a great example, Trump used the military the way it was designed to be used. And this is something that I definitely support. There are people in charge right now of this operation who aren't dealing with people from Harvard or the War College and asking them what they would do or asking for a conference around a big table where they can work this thing out. No. We have war fighters on this right now who are getting things done the way they're supposed to get done. And this is the way it could have gotten done for years, but we had other interests that wanted to really bog down our military, bog down our interests, and it mostly happens when Congress gets involved. Now, again, people are saying that Trump said, oh, no new wars, I was going to be the no new wars president. Well, look at that statement in context. Anytime he talks about no new wars, he's talking about no new forever wars like we had in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's talking about no more going into countries and occupying them and then taking them over and then trying to run them for 20 years while they try to get back on their feet. No, he's giving people the opportunity around the world in places where we should have focused our military for years but haven't. You can't put out a aura of strength and claim that you're stronger than everybody and that you can do all these powerful things and then not actually do them to prove it. Unfortunately, to remind people of who you are and what you can do, you have to put warheads on foreheads. These people in the Middle East don't know anything but threats of violence, and this Islamic regime is nothing but violent. They've been worse to their citizens than the Iraqi and Afghanistan governments were to theirs. They've killed thousands, tens of thousands of innocent civilians just for protesting. They've shut off the internet multiple times. Anytime an uprising happens or people protest, they shut off any communication to the outside world, and then they start shooting people, even children. Now, I understand people wanting to be concerned with conflicts in the Middle East and the United States getting involved in new conflicts and us losing troops for no good reason around the world. But I really want everybody to just take a step back and look at this and wait and just wonder how many times they can be wrong before they realize that they're looking at things from a totally different viewpoint and from a totally different paradigm. And I really think we should just go ahead and give our president the benefit of the doubt since he's been right so far in everything he's done and has been successful in his foreign policy. I think one thing that people aren't realizing is as Iran attacks its neighbors and tries to hurt the coalition of the Middle Eastern nations, they're getting support from nobody, not from any leaders of the nations surrounding Iran. I'm pretty sure Trump had the blessing of all of the Middle Eastern leaders, especially with this new Board of Peace, to go in and do what he's doing. Those Middle Eastern leaders knew exactly what was going to happen, and I think they were prepared for that. And I think Iran, the Islamic regime currently in charge of Iran, is going to learn really quick that they've run out of friends. Please let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and subscribe if you haven't, and like the video because it helps more people get out. It helps this get out to more people, and I love it when people hear the truth, okay? So, thanks again for coming back, and I hope you enjoyed this. As always, peace be with you.